Coach Helen for You Fit Studio. Had my hand there. Right, you talk about what does success look like. Okay, now I've talked a lot about some comparisons, some blueprints, perception of success and what that looks like, reality versus perception of success. And it's important to understand that success means different things to different people. Now, it might be different areas of life, so it might be weight loss, that if to achieve success, they've got to lose X amount of weight, or they've got to be an X dress size to be successful at something. They may feel it's a financial thing or a work-related thing, self-growth maybe, or even just a sense of contentment. I think that's interesting when although I think that's somebody's really driven, that's quite hard to always find that contentment, always pushing for more, right? So I think it's always important to think about success to start with. What does define success, and what you're looking to find success in. And often it's a bit like, I talked about this when I talked about the blueprint or the roadmap some times ago. Often a lot of people have a perception about success, and I will link this into health and weight loss and health and fitness, because that's what we're here for at the end of the day. There's often this perception of weight loss as being a straight line, right? Journey is a straight line. You start at X weight, finish at Y weight, or AB, and it's going to be a straight line, and that's going to be my success. When I get to that end point, cross that finishing line, that's my success. And it is, generally speaking, a perception of either something they believe to be true through, they perceive someone's done it that way themselves, or they have some kind of blueprint in mind or a journey, they visualize it a certain way, and it's inevitably always a straight line. And that's how much people, and that is exactly, interestingly, how people perceive success, as a straight line. You either have it or you don't have it. So you either have this weight, you're up here, or you have this weight here. Success, not a success, right? So success is viewed as a straight line. You've got to start in one position, keep going until you hit the golden moment. Success, you're there, right? Now, as you imagine, I'm going to argue that reality is somewhat different. Okay, and there is actually, I love this, a wheel of, I don't have to say it like that, a wheel of success. I'll say it in a normal voice without going weird. A wheel of success. Now, success looks like, right, and I said, I'm going to go through this in terms of health and fitness as well. Success looks like, we talked about early on, a dedicated cause or setting a goal, right? So that's the first kind of step on the road, or the circle of success, if you want. Or the hamster wheel, whatever you want. Keep going. Right. So you're setting a goal. So early stages, you're setting a goal. Hopefully a goal that has clarity, right? We've covered that this week. You get into, skip all the change cycle, but getting into, in success, what is essentially the hard work area. Some people call it the grind. I've heard it called that before. Action, I don't know, maintenance, whatever you call it, I suppose, if you want to align it. And it really gets hard, right? Successful people stick it out, right? But discipline comes into play. So they remain consistent with their cause, with their goal. There may be at some point, often, some disappointment, right? The cycle includes disappointment and intervention, usually towards their goal. They may, right, to create success, the cycle, there has to be some kind of sacrifice. So we've gone goal setting, we've got into the grind, the hard work, we've then gone into the consistency or discipline, we then go into the disappointment, or I suppose you could call it relapse, I've called it that before, and then there's a sacrifice section. The next step is sacrifice, and that might mean that either it's a sacrifice of time, resources, finance, I don't want to say relationships, but maybe relationships, friendships, some kind of change in the whole cycle. And guess what? There's even more failure that can come in cycle. It sounds doom and gloom. It's not. Even more failure potentially after that. And yet there's then a plan and act again. So persistence, and then there's success. The thing is, though, is that the successful people don't stop going through the cycle. A bit like the change cycle, the success cycle is no different, right? It's just different language to some degree. However, the outcome is slightly different, right? And this is a success model in some cases. So let's take health and fitness or weight loss goal in a success cycle. Starting out by setting out a goal, you want to be a dress size, you want a number on the scale, your clarity. Let's go back to clarity. Set something big. Don't be frightened. Set something, clear on what your steps are, etc., etc. You set the goal and you start the hard work. You start training, you start looking after your food. You really start to get quite disciplined. You start saying no to people for socialising. You're consistent in your behaviours and habits. You start to see some success. But it's, you're getting into a grind a little bit. You're thereabouts. And then at some point there's a disappointment. You either have a social event, have a blowout. Something intervenes in your plans for your goal, right? You put weight on, you see it as perhaps failing, whatever it might be. We're getting into sacrifice session. So successful people will look at that and say, right, I do the same thing again, or I've got to change something in that form. And that might mean sacrificing something else. That might mean sacrificing either some time, some of my resources, or something else to keep this moving, to get me back into the grind. Because actually now I realise the grind was at least getting me somewhere. All right, so sacrifice of time and resources happens, right? There's a continuation with that change of resources, and yet something still doesn't go quite according to plan. Very common if you're in a long-term weight loss or working with us, you'll know this pattern. You go, oh yeah, that's true, that's happened to me. Like, with all the best resources in the world, still something went wrong, and that's okay, because you plan and go again. Plan and go again, weight loss continues. And then, you set a new goal. See how this goes? The success continues. And this is where a lot of people this is going to be a relatively short one today, because it doesn't need to be too long in this, but I think the main thing is that the understanding about the non-linear nature of weight loss and health, that most people perceive that it's just, as I said at the beginning, a straight start to finish. It is a straight race to get to where I need to get to, and then I finish running, right? I finish my journey, I get to my goal, I go home, have a relax, have a pizza, chill, right? Now, truly successful people at weight loss follow this pattern, and they keep following it and following it and following it and following it. Now, here's the trick, because people say, yeah, but you get to a certain point, you lost all the weight, Helen, right? So then what are you going to be doing? The thing is, yes, that's true. You will have lost substantially large amounts of weight. That doesn't mean that you stop setting goals. I could do a whole live on. Oh, I'm not doing. I will do a live on that. Kate want to know about this one. What happens when you do get to your weight loss goal? Because that's such a common one, right? Because I know I focus a lot on people actually in the process, but there are a whole heap of people that are successful, use this model, do get to that Y point or B point, right, where they perceive they're going to be finishing, and then a whole new chapter arrives, right? Now, as a coaching team, we always preempt that and say, look, you're getting there, so we need to start sorting out what the next goal is. Why? Because to continue to feel successful or achieve a success, you need to keep setting goals, even after the point of you arriving at your destination as such, right? And even as me as a client, I certainly perceive this to be the case, that once I got there, I'll be happy, things will be golden, end of the line, right? So maybe that, just to give it a little sneaky picky, we can talk about maintenance goals, and me is my answer. I will delve into that in more depth, obviously, in the live when I do it. I'll do it in probably in April. Much is all planned. That's an official response. I think maintenance goals are important, and there is a way of doing maintenance goals, and I can talk about those as well. However, often, like most goals, like the clarity of a goal, maintenance can sometimes have a little lack of clarity about what that means. So, really successful people in health and fitness will start to look outside of losing weight to maintain those goals. Like, I want to learn to do something from an exercise position, or I want to, in fact, look outside of health altogether and still use my coach as more on the lifestyle type, and see if they can support me into business, personal, financial. It's all kind of comes in the bag of tricks, right? because it keeps somebody healthy mentally and physically. So successful people will always keep going through this chain, right? It doesn't end. A bit like health and fitness doesn't really end, unfortunately. We all like to think it's a quick job. It ain't, people. So let's do a recap. So what does success look like? Well, it looks like an ever-increasing circle, right? This is the point I'm making on this one. It can mean different things to different people. Generally speaking, though, most of us start out, when it comes to health and fitness, seeing success is, I start size, I don't know, 16, 18, size 8 to 10, I am done. Or I start to get X weight, want to get to Y, and then done. Success. Achieved. Let's all go home. It's a very straight line in people's heads. Until they really get into it in the depths that we do and the longevity that we do, and then they start to realise that, hey, this ain't so linear, this is quite wiggly, right? In fact, it's a circle, right? So you set your goal, you start, you have a destination, you become dedicated to that goal, you get into the grinds, right? And by the way, this can be over years. I get into grinds, I'm working hard, I'm doing everything, and then holiday or Christmas happens, or eat out to help out, or whatever we've got in store for us for the next 3 to 4 months. I refuse to look at the news to find out because I'm too scared about eat out to help out. Please tell me it's not happening. No, that's coach screaming, no, helping out. No eat out to help out, please. Right, we get in the hard work and the discipline, we're consistent, and yet something goes wrong, like eat out to help out, let's just use that as an example, and slides. Now, the sacrifice, I guess, would be saying no, I will not eat out to help out, at least on this occasion for next week, because actually I realise for me to be successful, I must sacrifice of the 4 nights, just bring it down to 3 nights I'm eating out to help out. For example, using one that would generally scares me. In doing so, though, there still might be some failure after that. Really successful people will take that on board, they'll replan, they'll go again, they'll be persistent. Talk a lot about words, but persistence one we don't talk about a lot. Persistent to gain the success, right? And then they go again. So they set another goal, they go into dedication, they hit the grinds, they get it running, they're disciplined, something slides, they go again, right? That is the true meaning of what success looks like. It's a never a linear line, it is a increasing circle of learning as well. So the final point I will make, which I didn't make earlier, is that like the cycle of change, the cycle of success, I guess, like most things when we go through this, we do learn how to be more successful each time. If you think about any time you've been really great at losing weight and successful at it, you'll generally never make the same mistakes again, which I touched on only just yesterday. Yeah, that was felt like a long time ago. We never make the same mistakes again when we go through the success cycle, like the change cycle. We take that on board, we learn, we make it next time more successful because we don't make the same mistakes, right? So all of these lives this week have tied in together somewhat, right? Rather than if I did it all in one go, I'd be like, oh. Right, next week, some food related stuff. We've got, oh yes, it's a week of food related. We've got unconscious eating, how to feel full and lose weight, oh miracle, and how to play the Hunger Game, because this one's coming in at the minute. So they're next week's Monday, Wednesday and Thursday, day of the week. So as always, enjoy your weekend, guys. And any questions, any comments, feel free to comment on here or message me. I have a lot in my inbox that have come in from Mondays already I need to get through. Anything else you want to know, just hit me up, I'll answer your questions. And if you want to know about us, it is on both Insta and Facebook comments. So I will catch you all next week.